Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest from the live radar. We'll have a look at the UK Met Office short range model. We'll also have a look at the longer range models, as we do have a very autumnal, if not stormy period of weather coming up over the next week or so. And we saw, if you saw in my video yesterday, there's the potential of being a very severe windstorm coming up this coming weekend. Now the models are changing between each run, but it still does look like we're going to be seeing a very deep area of low pressure move through. Just how disruptive is what we're watching out for, and we'll have a very good idea exactly what's going to be happening probably around maybe Thursday, Friday time. Still time to change over the coming days, however. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and do remember to follow on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So as you can see at the live radar, you can see we have another wall of rain spreading in from the west. Again, a lot of heavy rain within this, and some squally features. Once again, you can see these small lines forming, symbolic of little squally features, areas where we're seeing a bit of convection going, very heavy rain and very strong winds within this. Regardless if you see these squally features, you're going to be seeing heavy rain spread eastwards throughout this evening. The worst rain is still to come from London. You can see all the way down into the southwest and central southern England, even down into the Channel. Very heavy rain is going to be moving up towards London, the southeast, and parts of East Anglia. Currently, many areas across the Midlands, northern England, into southeast Scotland have seen the very heavy rain come through, and are seeing come through at the moment, and it should slowly clear over the coming hours. We do have many showers packing in behind it as well, but another deluge, and we're going to continue to see more of these over the coming days. So as you can see by the Met Office short range model, you can see that heavy rain spreading in through at the moment, and it will clear many eastern areas probably around sort of midnight, maybe lingering to the southeast of the early hours. So should be clearing when most people are asleep. And by rush hour tomorrow morning, only a few showers really in the west and across Scotland. Those showers will pick up once again throughout the afternoon. Shouldn't be too significant, but will still be around. You can see another deluge just spreading in from the west, another wall of rain. And we're likely to see more heavy rain, especially in the north, this looks like, through early hours of Thursday, and even into parts of southern areas and eastern areas through Thursday afternoon. There's more batches of heavy rain spreading through, potentially more squall features with that as well. And then as we head through to the weekend, more heavy rain spreads through. And then you can see, by Saturday night into Sunday, you can see that huge storm we were talking about yesterday. And you can see the UK Met Office run has some very heavy rain associated with that. Pretty slow moving as well. You can see it first enters the southwest around 3 to 6 o'clock on Saturday and does not clear until the early hours. So good. Potentially 10 hours of heavy rain there. If we do have a look at the wind gusts as well for that storm, just to see what it is showing at the moment. As we see, very strong wind down in the far southeast. So it does look like the strongest winds at the moment are in the far southeast on this current UK Met Office run. And as I said, it can change between runs, between 70 and 80 miles per hour. Inland, 40, 50, 60 mile an hour gusts are very possible. And then even up into the North Sea coast, across the northeastern areas, East Anglia, far southeast, once again 50, 60, 70 mile an hour gusts. Now it is subject still to quite a bit of change, so we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with the models over the coming days, but still is showing significant conditions next weekend. If we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see today temperatures were pretty cool, only 15, 16, 17 degrees for the rain has spread through. Very cool across Ireland tonight, only 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees potentially. Through tomorrow, another quite chilly day, only 13, 14 degrees, feeling really cold. We do have showers and longer spells of rain at times. Beyond that, you can see widely Wednesday night temperatures will be dipping down into the mid-single digits. However, from the southwest, a warm sector is pushing through ahead of heavy rain pushing through once again, and then we see Polar Mountain air mass return again, and then you can see what's fueling this storm. Very warm air over the near continent, 17, 18 degrees potentially across East Anglia at 3 a.m. on Sunday. However, only 2 or 3 degrees in Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. So you can see that big temperature contrast is spinning up this low pressure system, and that is what's going to be giving us this potentially very dangerous storm next week. And I do suspect we could be seeing it named in the next few days, and weather warnings put in force for it as well. Again, still subject to change, but it is still looking quite a severe system on the latest models. Now, if we do run through the latest GFS, now this is the 12Z run. Hasn't quite finished, but it's gone out to 330 hours. Anything beyond that, again, is pretty uncertain. So you can see as we do move through, heavy rain is spreading in from the west with a lot of low pressure systems. And then as we head to the weekend, you see this low really spin up in the southeast. Now, on this latest run, only gets down to around 970 millibars in the centre, and you can see the strongest winds on its southern flank and its southeastern flank as well. And it is sort of a dorsal over main low pressure system, so still going to be a lot of showers and unsettled weather around. Yesterday we saw it going down to around 960, 958, which is quite a bit deeper, but this still would be deep enough to be potentially a named storm, very dangerous regardless. Eventually, it does reach peak intensity out in the North Sea, and that's where you could see its strongest winds on its western edge, potentially across northwest Scotland, across northeast Scotland, all the way down the eastern coast of England as well. Beyond that, though, it does eventually clear away, and if we do go back to the European outlook, you can see generally still a lot of low pressure around, and towards the end of the run, we do see high pressure trying to build in, and it actually does. Right towards the end of the run, we do see a bit of a flimsy ridge build in, potentially with some warmer air, bringing temperatures back up to around 20 degrees. But it is in the longer term, and up until day 10, if we go all the way back to day 10, it is looking unsettled. So the signs of high pressure in the long term, I would say at this stage, is we're going to take it with a pinch of salt, of course, as it is in the longer term. And in the short term forecast, it's looking like very unsettled, autumnal, and stormy. So if we do have a look at the GM, see how that does compare to the GFS, you can see over the coming days a lot of low pressure around. And then as we head into the next weekend, you see this low really spin up. And if we go to the United Kingdom, look, see how deep it gets. 968 millibars in the centre of this low. And it does actually lose its, it doesn't quite lose its intensity. If we do go into a shorter interval look, we can see that it's sort of forms into a new low pressure system over across northeast Scotland into an even deeper low, around 160 millibars, and the main low that we initially had as a storm decays away. Very interesting seeing that sort of energy swap over top of the UK. And I actually don't know what that would look like on the surface. There'll be a lot of heavy rain around, a lot of convective systems popping up as these low pressures rapidly deepen and fill in, as for the first low pressure system. And of course, when these low pressure systems deepen, that's when we have the most dangerous winds. And this low pressure system could be giving, I wouldn't be surprised, 100-mile-an-hour wind speeds. Gust, that is, across coastal areas. That's how quickly that low pressure does deepen. So could be seeing some exceptional conditions next weekend, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Beyond that, we do see a lot of low pressure still around, potentially an extratropical system or a hurricane heading into the Atlantic, and that could head towards the UK. Again, not directly impacting us, but still bringing in a lot of low pressure and unsettled conditions all the way to day 10. Now, if we do run through the ECMWF, see if that does compare, you can see a lot of low pressure over the coming days. As we head towards next weekend, we can see that low does develop. If we go to the 850 HPA temperature, so we can zoom in, you can see it only gets down to 980 millibars. So nowhere near as deep as the other two main models are going. But it's because we've got a lot of other daughter lows sort of simmering around. And again, we don't have that very cold air in from the north, combining with the sort of the 10-degree isotherm, giving us this really big spin up. So ECMWF is still a bit more tame, but still getting to around 980 millibars, which is still quite an intense system. May not be a named storm here. However, it still will have probably yellow warnings in force for wind, and we'll just have to see what happens, really. And all the way to day 10, still very unsettled, potentially pulling up some warmer air from the southwest, so turning a little bit less cold, but still unsettled with weather fronts pushing through. Now, finally, if we do have a look at the GFS Ensembles for the next few weeks, you can see a lot of up and down over the next week or so, symbolic of a zonal pattern. Many deluges coming in, walls of rain with very significant conditions. You can see that potential named storm there around 3rd, 4th of October. looking like potentially 10 to 20 millimeters of rain on a lot of the ensembles. Generally, temperatures are below average beyond that as we maintain a northwesterly flow. Then we see a bit of a return to above average. It does look like high pressure may be building over Europe, as we saw with that ECMWF, potentially bringing up southwesterly winds. Still unsettled, especially in the north and west. However, a little bit more warmer where we do see some cloud breaks and some sunshine, but still generally quite unsettled. And if we have a look at the sea level pressure, you can see how we do really have a marked signal now for 3rd, 4th of October with this potential storm moving through. A lot of the ensemble now are going to around 990, 980 millibars, which is really quite low for London, I must say, because generally whenever we do get sort of an autumnal or wintry storm, the centre of the low is normally going through Scotland, North Midlands, Northern England, or even off the coast of Scotland. We're still seeing very strong gusts in the south, but we're not seeing this very deep low pressure. Pretty much all but about 3 ensemble members are going below 1,000 millibars, which is very, very unsettled. Beyond that, you can see generally things are still low pressure, and then we do see a bit of a mixed bag. Some going high pressure, some going low pressure, and that's because of that high pressure building over Europe, potentially drawing in those southwesterly winds, and we'll just have to see what happens with that. If we do have a look at Glasgow, which will give us a good idea again of this storm we could see next weekend, we have to look at the 6 heads. The 12 head hasn't quite come out yet, and you can see over the next sort of week or so, slowly lowering pressure. After the current low pressure we're seeing at the moment with the weather fronts, it does rise briefly before we do see quite a big drop off, and then towards next weekend, all ensemble members are below 1,000 millibars, and some are going down to 955 millibars, which is truly exceptional for a low pressure system. And that would definitely be a named storm. I'd say anything around 980, 970, and we're looking at potentially a named storm, and that is around half of the ensemble members. The average of years you can see is 982. So potentially a very dangerous windstorm coming next weekend, and we'll be having a look at that in a lot more detail over the coming days once we do converge on its exact track and its exact we probably won't know its exact exactly how deep it is really, probably until it starts to form, as we can see quite rapid deepening, sort of deeper or not as deep as the forecast, even sort of 6 to 12 hours out. So we have to keep an eye on what happens near the time, but we should have a much better idea over the coming days, probably, as I said earlier in the video, by Thursday, Friday time, exactly what the impact will be. And I do suspect we will see Met Office warnings enforced over the coming days, probably Thursday, maybe Friday as well. We probably will see potentially a named storm as well. In the longer term, generally sort of lower pressure. There is some higher pressure ensembles bringing it up, but generally the average is around 1,010 millibars, which is sort of on the brink of low pressure, and we'll have to see what happens in the longer term, of course, with that Euro high, which is trying to build in. If we do have a look at the 850 HPA, temperature and precipitation, you can see generally below average over the next sort of 10 days or so, and then we do see a rise, of course, as we start to try and bring southwesterly winds, but there is a lot of uncertainty with this. There are some going much cooler than that, and again, we'll have to keep an eye on it, but you can see the precipitation line on the bottom is rarely at 0. Maybe over the next couple of days we could see a brief respite at times, but generally around the 30th of September all the way to the 14th on the current ensembles, it is showing it pretty much consistently raining in every single 6-hour period. Now, it won't rain all the time, of course, there will be drier times in there, may even be dry days in there, but you can see very unsettled, very low pressure orientated, and if you are in the north, especially in Scotland, I wouldn't really be planning anything too much outdoors over the next few weeks. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to stay up to date with the potential dangerous storm we could be seeing this coming weekend, and of course stay up to date with the channel for the repeat deluges we're going to be seeing over the coming days leading up to that potentially named storm next weekend. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.